Hey everybody, Andrew Zimmern here, sitting up late at night in the kitchen of my house, bringing you the spilled milk, ask me anything. I love this, I really do. I could literally record an hour of your questions because I find them so fascinating. So please keep subscribing and keep sending me in, and I'm not being sarcastic. Whoopsie. See, that's what happens when you do this late at night. But I'm not being sarcastic. I really do love your questions. I love answering them. They're fantastic. Kevin C. writes, Andrew, Au Cheval versus The Loyalist. Is it true The Loyalist is better? I had Au Cheval once, and to this day haven't had a better burger. The truffle fries are legend. They are. But so is John's burger at The Loyalist. I'll tell you, and this is my honest to gosh take. I don't think there are better burgers than either of them in America today. How's that? And there are 50 great hamburgers I could mention off the top of my head, and I'm not going to take time to do it, that are also in that category. None better than. But how do you compare, J.G. Mellon's or Red Hook Tavern in New York to Au Cheval and The Loyalist in Chicago? I mean, it's impossible compared to Father's Office in L.A. or a heritage burger like the Apple Pans that people rave over and is extraordinary. And Tavern Burger versus Bespoke Meat Burger versus Smash Burger, right? It's really hard. Thankfully, with today's economy, though the price of a hamburger is soaring, we can all have an excellent, inexpensive meal by chowing down on a hamburger and some French fries. Anyway, yes, the real key, I guess, would be going down to Chicago and hitting Au Cheval and The Loyalist in one night, something that I have never done, though I love both those burgers. Ken writes, you recently brought up the what belongs in chili question, which has me thinking about beans. What are some of your favorites, not just in chili, but in general? Do you always use dry beans or will you use canned? I never use canned for chili. But I do keep a couple cans of beans in my pantry, not because I'm a prepper, but because it just always feels like the right thing to do. And you can add them to things and puree them and do all kinds of stuff. And if you drain them, you can make a black bean hummus or something. I should probably look at the dates on the cans. They've been in my pantry for years. I collect beans from all different parts of the world. Spain, France, Mexico, all over Central America, South America. I probably have 20 different types of beans in the upper reaches of my cabinet where I keep them, most of which I don't even know what they are. There's all kinds of specialty places, Rancho Gordo, of course, being famous for it, that I get beans from, and I adore them. A good flageolet bean, which looks like a long, slender, pale green bean when it's dry, cooks up beautifully, but is no better than an Italian bordolata. And I love Italian dried favas as well. It are completely different than the fresh bean that we get in the springtime. So yeah, I'm an equal opportunity bean enthusiast. I learned Emily Ruthos Shaya, who is Chef Alon Shaya's wife, and I were in New York together at a dinner 2 weeks ago. And she is one of the great bean cooks in America. She just focused for years on creating the best red bean and rice recipe. And I finally got to eat it 2 Saturdays ago. And it was extraordinary. And so even a traditional, red bean like that, I have a lot of Southern chef friends who send me dried and fresh field peas of different varieties that I love to cook with. I'm just big on legumes, man. I mean, bean me up, Scotty. I am ready to go anywhere. And even just a simple navy bean or pinto bean, if it's from the right source and it's handled the right way. And yes, I soak my beans, and no, I don't put baking soda or other things in the water. I just usually do a traditional overnight soak because I think it makes the skins softer, it makes the beans more digestible, and it takes less time to cook. It still takes, look, Emily soaks her beans overnight and then still cooks them low and slow for 6 hours. And she has this theory about it's called beaning, where you don't stir the beans, you just let them cook low and slow, and you don't smush some of them against the side to get some texture. You let the weight of the beans themselves actually break apart some of them. And I'm just it's actually one of the things I'm most excited about cooking this fall, is that now we're into soup and bean weather, and I'm nuts about it. And yes, I am very big on cassoulet because I have a French cassoule, the pot from which cassoulet gets its name, and I have duck confit in the freezer and smoked ham hocks and saucisson l'ail, French garlic sausage, and all the rest of it, and I just cannot wait. And yes, I do crispy breadcrumbs on top. Socrates Johnson, what a fantastic name, writes, "What brings true happiness?" That's a great question. I have had the opportunity to ask a couple of super uber spiritual people in my life, from the Dalai Lama, who I had lunch with once in Boston, to different medicine men and tribes people and shamans, real shamans in Africa, Amazonia, the Golden Triangle, with the tribal hill tribe. They're hill people, not Hmong, that live in the Golden Triangle, called the Lao Su. And when I meet someone who I think has something special going on, I always ask them, like, what's the meaning of life? We always talk about happiness. I famously asked Jamba the fisherman in Madagascar, the happiest guy I knew. I said, I asked him, why are you so happy? So I explore this issue a lot with people who I think have something to teach me, and every single one of them gives me the same answer, that our purpose on earth is to love other people and make our communities a better place. They don't use that exact specific language. Some people, the word community doesn't exist. It's interchangeable with the word family. But they're all saying the exact same thing. And so, and when I look back on my own life, and especially the last 30 plus years, almost 31 years of sobriety, the thing that gives me the greatest joy in life, that gets me the happiest, is when I'm in expressing pure empathy, which is when I am being of service to other people. If you are in service of other people, you are in a flawless, empathetic position, and that brings true happiness. So doing things for other people. It's why I love Will Guidara's new book, Unreasonable Hospitality, because the whole premise, it's a business book and restaurant hospitality book, and it's going to be a Bible for the next 20 years for people in the food industry, but it's also a great, like I said, business book. But more importantly, great life lessons. Practice unreasonable hospitality. Have a great night.